Hey everyone, I wanted to take a couple of minutes to show you some really cool extensions and add-ons that I was able to find as we were studying and going through this unit. And some of them I think are very cool or could really help our kids a lot as we are going through and teaching. One of the kids I have this year that's really been having a struggle in my classroom is dyslexic. So I've been trying to study and find and see what I can use and what is there out there that can help him to succeed in my classroom. And one of the things that I found was really cool was an extension that's up here. We're going to come up here into the extensions, and then we're going to come down to Open Dyslexic for Chrome. So I have a web page here, and this web page is about the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, and this is something that we are going to be studying when we study the beginning of World War One. So a lot of times this can be difficult to read for our dyslexic kids because there's a lot of different fonts and there's a lot of things that are difficult in here for them to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here into extensions and we're going to open up Open Dyslexic for Chrome. When we do that, we'll see that we can put in Open Dyslexic and then bold or italic. So we're just going to do with regular Open Dyslexic today, and we're going to turn it on, and then we can see that the web page has changed, and the font that we are now in is more easy to read. It's easier for the students that are dyslexic to go through and be able to read and understand what they're reading. And as we see, we can even change the background colors here and highlight it all for them. Let's try another one. We can change it into bold, and it'll change, and we can see that it changes a little bit into bold here. It makes it a little bit easier to read, and then we can do it again in italics, and then when it reloads, it'll come back even again a little bit different. So this is something that I'm excited to use with my student, and I think that it's really going to help him as we're going through and as we're looking at a couple of these different web pages and different sources to be able to change the type font to make it easier for him to understand. Another one that we have that I'm excited to try and work with some of my students is just turn off Open Dyslexic right here. Is Speak It. So we come back in here and we come and we change it to Speak It. Let's come back. Actually, let's go over here into um, a Google Doc that I have pulled up. So we're going to come over. We're going to go to Speak It. All right, and as we see, it'll go through and it'll read to them as they're following along. Again, it's something that they're going to have to um, understand that it's not going to be perfect while it's reading to them. When it was reading here, when it said the spark that ignited World War, it didn't say one; it said World War I. That's just kind of an issue that the program is going to have as it's reading to them, but it's something that um, it's hopefully the kids are understanding the bigger picture, and it's helping them out a little bit there with that. A couple of different add-ons. The first add-on that I liked was Slido, and I added it to a presentation that I just did yesterday on the long-term causes of World War One. So what you do is you come up into add-ons and you pick Slido. And what I did was, as we go through, it adds in different questions. So if I go into present here, we can see that this slide is on militarism, the glorification of war and increase in military spending. We talk about Germany's competing with England for naval superiority. When we go to the next slide, this is an active poll where students will pick up their phone and they can scan this, and they can come in and they can type it, or they can join Slido.com number 727-122. What's another example of militarism from the time before the start of World War One? And so we talked about a bunch of different other things, and as they type them in, they'll show up here on this screen, and then we can get an active poll. We can get different ideas and clear up any misconceptions that the kids may have. When we come in, another type of question we can talk about the aligned system, and then there can be a multiple choice question. So when the kids answer this question, it'll go through and it'll show the percentages um, of what kids understand and what kids knew that the alliance that started in 1907 was between Russia and Great Britain. We see 0% got it correct, but that's because we didn't have anybody actually taking this poll here. Then we can come in, another type that you can do with Slido is imperialism. We can say, this is what the imperialism is. We taught about this for, a couple of weeks before. And then what are the motivations behind imperialism? And this was actually a lesson that we did maybe 3-4 days before. And it's, figuring out what did the kids remember from that. So there's a bunch of different things that you can do with Slido. And we're going to deactivate this poll because we're not doing that anymore. Another one that I had that I liked was Close It. So I'll go back here to my Franz Ferdinand paragraph. So what I've done is I've highlighted ahead of time some different terms or some different people or some different words here in my paragraph. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up into the add-ons, and I'm going to go to Close It. When I click Start, it's going to go over here. I'm going to, now that I've highlighted these words, I'm going to create a worksheet with a word bank. It gives us the close notes. It gives us a whole bunch of different blanks here. And then if we see, as we scroll down, we have the word bank where we can go through and we can add the things in. And this can be used, as a formative assessment to try and figure out, do the kids understand the notes that have been taken? This can be used to give closed notes, where if you have a kid who's a little behind and you want to make sure that he really gets the idea behind the notes, but he doesn't fall so far behind the other kids, you can have him filling out and working in closed notes. And then the last thing that I had, I actually used a bunch in my Adobe Spark video, and I really liked it, was using Pixabay. So I'm just going to keep it here, and we'll put a picture before our lesson here on World War I breaking out. So I'll go up here to add-ons. I'll go to Pixabay. I'll search images. And I'm just going to search World War I. When I search World War I, we see that there are a variety of Pixabay images. These are free images that you could use. I'll just choose this first one, and it will populate into my lesson. So these were just a couple. I showed you 2 different extensions. We talked about Open Dyslexic, which I'm really excited to use with my student that I have in my class this year, and Speak It. The add-ons that we went through today were Slido, Close It, and Pixabay. And, these are things that are really going to make a difference in my classroom, and I feel like are really the best use of technology and showing and helping kids to transform their learning and make sure that they are learning it the best way possible. So thank you guys for visiting my blog, and I really appreciate everybody taking the time to watch my video.